Breaking news, high winds fanned several wildfires tonight in northern Utah. One blaze shutting down I-80.
It is very dry, it's very hot, so it's going to be easy to spark a fire.
What these fires could mean for the hot summer ahead.
Really strong winds throughout the afternoon, blowing dust and dangerous fire weather conditions. Will there be any relief? We'll have the forecast straight ahead.
Congratulations.
The state of Utah strikes a deal with the federal government.
That's huge for us.
What's coming to a popular state park that will change it forever?
And I sit down with country superstar Garth Brooks and his wife Trisha Yearwood about this weekend's big concerts.
So you don't do it for the money. You just do it for the fun.
And why they're not just here in Utah to put on a show.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
We continue to track breaking news that we've covered all afternoon and evening. Multiple wildfires are burning in northern Utah tonight. 2 fires are even forcing the closure of I-80 and SR 201 on the border of Salt Lake and Tooele counties.
We have live team coverage for you tonight. Utah's Weather Authority Dina Friedman is tracking the gusty conditions and the high fire danger.
But we start with Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree, who's been out following these fires all day. Jenna, the Lakeshore fire is flaring up again tonight.
That's right, Bob and Kelly. The Lakeshore fire continuing to blaze alongside I-80. It's closing down both eastbound and westbound lanes. You can see it right behind me over my shoulder. It is continuing to burn, and crews thought they had a control earlier. And yes, a new flare-up and a new fire. The Cyrus fire just east of here has recently forced eastbound and westbound lanes to close, and crews have been out here for hours battling the strong winds, letting the flames climb uphill away from the road. If today is any indication of how this wildfire season will go, it's going to be a tough summer for firefighters.
Down there, if you want to flip around, if there's a chance to come up, and we're just trying to pin this against the lake here.
We train together, and it makes coming together on incidences seamless when working together.
Hand crews, engines, and water tankers all fighting fires along the Great Salt Lake shoreline.
Just be mindful that it is very dry, it's very hot, so it's going to be easy to spark a fire, and with this wind, as you can see, it's going to be easily spread.
No cause of these fires has been determined yet, but officials point out they all happened right off the highway.
Every year we'll see fires that are the result of people that don't mean to start them. It's not anything intentional.
From dragging chains on the road to hot exhaust in tall grass, John Gleason with UDOT advises drivers to check their cars for anything that could spark a flame.
We talk a lot about maintaining your car during the winter months, but it's important during the summer months too.
As today's heat and wind persist into the weekend, Aaron Lance with Unified Fire says people can't fight these kinds of fires alone.
Be quick to call 911. If something catches on fire, don't try to put it out yourself before calling 911. Get us coming, and we can get on top of it and get it out pretty quickly.
Crews are making progress on containment tonight.
I expect they'll be there throughout the night.
Now, the latest update we had, officials say the Lakeshore fire has grown to an estimated 400 acres. No structures are threatened at this time, but officials say about 40 power poles burned and a quarter-mile of railroad track is damaged. Another impact of these 45-mile-per-hour winds tonight, as you can hear them whipping around. From Wendover to Tooele, I-80 is urging caution for drivers of high-profile vehicles. That means any truck or larger SUV. Again, you can see just how powerful these winds are tonight. And again, eastbound and westbound lanes of I-80 closed from Wendover to Tooele. Reporting live from Lake Point, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Yeah, Jenna, we see and hear those high winds. Be careful out there.
Yeah.
The Lakeshore and the Cypress fires are just 2 of 4 wildfires that started in northern Utah today. Let's go ahead and break them down each for you.
The Barney Wash fire is out tonight. It was burning near the Copperton mine, but Rio Tinto Kennecott says it's no longer a threat to its operations. Dozers from Rio Tinto cut a line around this fire today. Initially, it was estimated at 40 acres, but an exact acreage is not available tonight.
There was another fire in Bluffdale along southbound I-15 at 152nd South. The smoke from it was affecting traffic for a while as it burned right along the shoulder of the road. As of now, that fire is completely out.
And in southern Utah, Rocky Mountain Power continues to monitor whether they need to proactively shut off power in Iron County and to the Cedar City area. Crews have determined the wind gusts were not bad enough to cause any shutoffs, but they will continue to keep a close eye on it through the weekend.
We are in a critical situation right now. We just saw Jenna out there live in Tooele, Dina, with those winds whipping and the flames just billowing behind her.
Yeah, it is never fun to see our beautiful state on fire like that and to see the dust and the wind, the danger, all of it. And it continues on tonight because of these strong winds. You can see on the Old Mill camera, you can barely see anything. It's just really dusty and there's some smoke embedded in there too. Now the winds have started to diminish a little bit as we forecast that they would go down a little for a while. We're still having gusts of around 20 to 30, but that's much better than 40 to 60 like we were earlier. Looking further south, and we were just talking about Cedar City and those possible power outages there that Rocky Mountain Power is monitoring. We still have our wind gusts there between about 20 and 40 miles per hour. So the winds are decreasing for now, but they are going to pick back up again tomorrow afternoon. So we're not in the clear just yet. And it's still very warm with that south wind as well. Temperature at 92 here in Salt Lake, 86 in Provo, and 93 in St. George. It's going to be a warm night. And on top of that, we had some downburst winds and we even had some thunder earlier on tonight at American Fork Canyon with some hail and thunderstorms. Now, our radar is actually down for maintenance in Salt Lake. That's going to make storms the next couple of days really difficult to see. But we can see that there is some convection over the spine of the Wasatch, so there could be some possible lightning strikes with some of that. Hopefully that should be diminishing now as the daytime heating is starting to diminish throughout the night. So as we go through the night, we'll be having temperatures in the 70s, and then tomorrow we still have another windy, dusty day. Details ahead.
Dina, thanks so much. Stay with Fox 13 News for the very, very latest on wildfire season as it continues through the weekend. We, of course, will pass along developments as we get them on the air, on social media, and always online at fox13now.com. New tonight, the North Davis Fire District is investigating a fire at a building that houses a potato chip manufacturer. It started right about 2:30 this afternoon at the Clearfield Freeport Center building. The fire was mainly on the roof and outside of that building. Crews estimate $250,000 in damages. Luckily, no one was hurt. The cause of the fire is not believed to be suspicious, but remains under investigation.
West Jordan police have arrested a man for the sexual exploitation of a child. Detectives and members of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force arrested Andrew Craig Peterson last night on numerous child sexual exploitation charges.
The data on these showed that the uploads were very recent, even March through May of this year. It was given a very high priority. So investigators quickly started working on it. When they located the suspect and seized his phone and executed that search warrant, they found numerous pieces of possible child pornography.
Peterson is currently facing 20 charges in relation to one of the victims who was identified. Officials say the investigation is ongoing as they continue to identify more victims.
Police have arrested a suspect in connection with the shooting of an elderly man in West Valley City. 82-year-old Farrell Bartkey was shot while walking his dog on October 4th of last year. Police were able to identify the alleged shooter as Noel Munoz Lopez. Now, at the time, the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office was only able to file a criminal document under seal because Lopez had fled the area. West Valley City Police, the FBI, and the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office found Lopez this week. Today, the criminal document was to be unsealed.
With the unsealing of that document and the custody of the defendant in custody, now we can move forward with the prosecution of this case.
Lopez was taken to the Salt Lake County Jail last night. He is facing multiple charges, including 1 count of murder, 2 counts of unlawful discharge, and possession of a firearm by a restrictive person.
God Loveland Valley State Park is getting a whole lot bigger. How a deal between the state and the feds could have big benefits for Utahns.
The destruction has been overwhelming.
It's very widespread. It's going to take a long time to inventory it.
Plus, we're getting a closer look at the devastation from the flooding at Yellowstone and what's being done to help people in that area.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I could do this all night.
And he's got a lot of friends in low places at Rice-Eccles Stadium tonight. I talk one-on-one with country music legend Garth Brooks and his wife about this special weekend in the Beehive State.
In national news tonight, a 71-year-old man is facing murder charges in Alabama, where he allegedly opened fire at a church potluck dinner last night. An 84-year-old woman is the third victim to die from the attack. An 84-year-old man and a 75-year-old woman were also killed.
Another attendee at the event subdued the suspect and held him down until law enforcement arrived. The suspect is currently in custody at the Vestavia Hills Police Department and will remain here while warrants for capital murder are issued by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office.
Police say the suspect attended the church occasionally. There is no word yet on a possible motive.
The U.S. Geological Survey says the historic floods unleashed by rapid swelling of the Yellowstone River are greater than a 1 in 500-year event. High water levels and all the damage have all 5 entrances to Yellowstone National Park shut down.
We are resilient. We are committed to restoring our communities, all the hundreds of homes, the bridges, the washed out roads. There's going to be a lot of work to do in the backcountry as the summer months come. We'll see what happens with culverts and more trails, but we'll be up and running stronger than ever before.
Meantime, Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney has requested emergency funds from the Transportation Department. Cheney sent a letter saying the money is needed to help with park repairs. Parts of the park could remain closed, or reopen, I should say. Parts of the park could reopen next week, but other areas will likely remain closed for weeks, if not months.
The January 6th committee wants to talk now to the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. The committee chair says the panel sent a letter to Ginny Thomas asking about her role in the effort to overturn the 2020 election results. The request follows the discovery that Thomas exchanged emails with conservative attorney John Eastman. Thomas told one media outlet she looks forward to speaking to the committee to, quote, clear up misconceptions.
Well, right now, country music superstar, megastar Garth Brooks is playing the first of 2 sold-out concerts here in Utah. This is a live look at Rice-Eccles Stadium. You're seeing Huntsman Center in the foreground with the domed roof, but just beyond that is the press box of Rice-Eccles Stadium, and down below there, you can see the people all in the seats right there.
Oh, it's a packed stadium.
It is just lots of friends in low places tonight. Salt Lake is the only city on his current tour. He is playing twice. He was here on tour last year, and you didn't get to talk to him last year, but
this year, I got the opportunity, the incredible chance to speak one-on-one with Garth earlier today. You know, Bob, his gratitude and graciousness to be able to perform for fans all over the world is evident. You feel it from him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He told me that he truly loves to surround himself with people, and he sees the good in this country while he's center stage. Listen to this.
But I'm telling you, if you could sit where I sit during the show, you would see what happens when people work together. When people love one another, trust one another. We're all here for the same reason, so everybody has this common goal, and it makes the night unbelievable. If we could just apply that to life, it would be great.
How can we do that?
I don't know. It's never been my gift to be a politician or a leader. I just play the songs. You know, it's like Alan Reynolds, the guy that produced all this stuff, picked all these songs. He said, pal, I'm not looking for you to sing to me. I'm looking for you to talk to me. Just talk to me.
Yes.
So that's what I get to do.
Garth, that's why you're such a good showman, because you talk to people, right? You share your spirit, you share your soul, you share your stories, and they feel like, I know him, because I remember when he told me about this. And you inspire people that way. Do you look at yourself as a role model?
No, not at all. I think everybody's got their superpower. And if I had to pick mine, I think I'm the guy next door, I think I like the same pizza you like. I think I like the same restaurant you like, right? And so that's my thing is, if I like it, maybe hopefully somebody else will. And that's the whole thought process behind what the last 30 years has been for us, is just, hey man, treat people the way you want to be treated.
And Garth, he was so kind to everyone. And so was his wife, country star Trisha Yearwood, who's also there at the stadium tonight. I was able to meet and chat with her today as well. She told me, though, that the both of them are not just here in Utah for Garth's 2 shows. Trisha is behind a pet food drive. It's happening tomorrow, all to help out animals in need in our state. The event will benefit the Best Friends Animal Society Pet Food Pantry. Trisha is donating the first 500 pounds of food. Smith's, they will match that donation with gift cards for Best Friends. And this is a cause near and dear to Trisha's heart ever since she was a little girl.
I was always the can I keep it kid, you know. I've always kind of taken in strays, and so rescue has always been something that I've been a part of and really big on. I'm coming to Salt Lake with Garth. It's his show, but what can we do here? And so we're helping out Best Friends, which is an incredible shelter, a great passion for animals and just in animal welfare and what they're doing here. So we're here to support them.
Isn't that great? They're giving us entertainment for 2 nights.
And they're feeding our pets.
If you would like to get involved, the Pet Food Drive will be happening tomorrow, Saturday, June 18th, from noon to 2 p.m. at the Smith's in Salt Lake City. The address is 800 South and 876 East. Trisha says anybody can stop by and donate pet food or a monetary donation. So thank you, Trisha and Garth, for an incredible day for me to be able to meet such a power couple. Truly, the best part of it was I've heard the stories before that Garth is truly an amazing guy and so nice that I was able to witness that and say, yes, indeed, he is.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was really neat.
Well, and you're not the only one. Our son Craig is there too and sent the pictures, the panoramic pictures. Everybody's having a great time.
Great time
at the concert.
Yeah, you know, it is very, very windy out. We've got some concerns, of course, with wildfires tonight. Nobody's going to stop those concert goers, though, Dina. Nothing can stop them.
Definitely the smoke, the dust, the wind. It can't stop a Garth Brooks concert, most definitely. It has been a pretty warm night, though, and definitely windy and dusty and upper high. We even had a few thunderstorms earlier. Some clouds today over Silver Lake and Big Cottonwood. And, of course, if you'd like to share some of the photos of today's weather, or even tonight or tomorrow, or any old time, you can go to Facebook and our Utah's Weather Authority Facebook page. So our weather headlines going into the evening here, we still have the wind and dust and our high wind warnings. Still expecting some wind gusts now starting to diminish a little bit. And tomorrow we still have the possibility of dangerous fire weather conditions and microbursts as well. Still pretty hot this evening, holding on to the 90s at the 9 o'clock hour. And going through the night, we'll be dropping into the 80s and then in the 70s in the morning. Tomorrow should be a little bit cooler. We should not hit the triple digits here in Salt Lake. The wind's starting to diminish a little. Still breezy, still gusting in the 20s and 30s here in northern Utah, and still between 30 and 40 miles per hour in southern and south central Utah as well. It was a very windy day. On top of Alta, around 60 miles per hour here for a wind gust on Mount Baldy. Even at the airport, close to 60, and Lofty Lake Peak in the Uintas at 54 miles per hour. And some of the higher elevations in the Uintas near 12,000 feet had wind gusts of 80 miles per hour today. What a day. We still have the high wind warnings all of tonight and tomorrow, and now a fire weather watch for eastern Utah, including San Juan and Brown County as well. So that's for tomorrow. 92 degrees here in Salt Lake, 87 in Draper, 81 in Heber this evening. So it's still very warm outside, still in the 80s in Wendover with some gusty winds there for you. Today's high did hit 101 degrees, just 2 degrees away from that record high temperature. Now, earlier tonight, we had some convection over the Wasatch, and our radar is actually down for maintenance, so it's very hard to see those echoes, but there were some hail and lightning strikes in American Fort Canyon earlier tonight. That's something to watch out for again tomorrow afternoon, especially in the eastern portion of the state. Our wind forecast, you can start to see the wind going down a little bit in the morning here, and then it ramps back up in the afternoon and evening, and then we do it again on Sunday as the cold front moves through. So we're still talking about at least 2 more days of some serious wind around here as the cold front progresses through. We're starting to see an increase increase, though, in some of that coverage of isolated thunderstorms on Sunday afternoon. And there's still a chance for those isolated storms tomorrow afternoon as well. Temperatures tonight with the wind not cooling off a lot, only around 72 in Salt Lake, 73 in St. George. Tomorrow in the 90s, a little cooler. Again, watch out for those isolated storms, possible microburst and downburst winds tomorrow afternoon. So that could be hazardous. And wind and dust definitely continues statewide. It is going to be dry for much of southern Utah, though, for the next 7 days. And for the Wasatch Front, wind and dust tomorrow, isolated storms Sunday, and much cooler weather moves in on Monday.
Thanks, Dina. Straight ahead, the youngest Utahns could be just days away now from getting their COVID vaccines. What experts at Intermountain Healthcare are saying tonight.
And a new jobs report for Utah is showing two sides of the same coin. We take a look at where the state is improving and where we're stumbling a bit.
Welcome back, everyone. Intermountain Healthcare says COVID vaccines for children older than 6 months could be available as soon as next week. Intermountain says the FDA has approved Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. They're now just waiting for approval from the CDC, which they think is very likely.
The health department, I think wisely, is going to really emphasize getting vaccine into the hands of pediatricians and family practitioners so that parents can get their kids vaccinated at places where they're used to getting them vaccinated.
Intermountain says the vaccines will also be available at pharmacies willing to vaccinate children and at some county health departments.
Utah's unemployment rate remains among the lowest in the country, and job creation remains strong. Today's numbers show that from April to May, Utah's unemployment rate increased slightly to 2%. Job growth slowed 0.3% compared to this time last year, but officials say the explosive growth in new jobs last year was impossible to sustain. And the State Department of Workforce Services says there are a couple of sectors that are not doing as well as others.
So those are kind of like your tech industry jobs, architect, kind of high-skilled type professional jobs. And then also the other one was our financial services. They saw a decrease as well. So those are two areas which are substantial. You normally higher paying jobs, so that's a little concerning to see the slowing in those areas. But all other sectors, we still have job growth, job gains.
There are a little more than 34,000 Utahns out of work right now. A county-by-county breakdown of the numbers is due out next week.
Today is all about partnership, people working together.
The popular Goblin Valley State Park is about to get a lot bigger.
It's Juneteenth, Utah's newest holiday. We'll tell you how, where, and why you should observe it.
This is something that has really affected our community.
One Utah community has been cut off from the Postal Service for years. The fight to get deliveries back to their town.
And the Utah Jazz finally unveiled their new uniforms. Later in sports.
If you are just joining us, we are tracking multiple wildfires burning in Utah, northern Utah tonight.
Bob, those fires all sparked this afternoon. 2 of them are by the Salt Lake and Tooele County line. They are impacting traffic in a big way tonight. Let's go live once again to Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree with the very latest. Jenna.
That's right, Bob and Kelly. Crews have been battling the Lakeshore fire all afternoon, and they were really just starting to tame it when it flared up again. You can see it right over my shoulder to the left. That is the Lakeshore fire. But we've also got another fire, the Cypress fire, which is just east of here, recently forced eastbound and westbound lanes on I-80 to close. Officials estimate the Lakeshore fire has grown to 400 acres, the Cypress fire at 100. Crews have been out here for hours battling the strong winds, letting the flames climb uphill away from the roads, and crews are carrying out a backfiring operation to slow the fire spread. No structures are threatened at this time, but officials say about 40 power poles burned and a quarter-mile of railroad track is damaged. Another impact of these winds tonight from Wendover to Tooele, I-80 asking high-profile vehicles, that means any truck or SUV, any large SUV, to stay off the highway. Reporting live from Lake Point, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Jenna, thank you. A deal between the state of Utah and the federal government will make some big changes to a very popular state park in southeastern Utah.
Now, this really is a big deal. The federal government is transferring ownership of land around Goblin Valley State Park, tripling its size. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow has the story from Green River.
The head of the Bureau of Land Management and representatives from the state of Utah and Emery County signed papers.
Congratulations.
All right.
Now you have land for a new sheriff's office.
Giving thousands of acres of federal land around Goblin Valley State Park to the state and the county.
When Utahns and people visiting from all over come to visit our public lands, if they're managed by the same entity, the management's going to be better.
Most of the land is right outside the current boundaries of Goblin Valley State Park. The federal land conveyance will triple the size of it.
That's huge for us.
The conveyance was made possible through a bipartisan bill that passed Congress. Utah Senator Mitt Romney was a co-sponsor. The park has become incredibly popular lately, with 500,000 visitors a year.
Especially when arches tightened up and shut down and slowed down with the number of people they let in arches, then the overflow came here every day, and so this park really became known.
The state is planning improved campsites, more signs, and better access to nearby slot canyons.
With these new access points, you can get there with a passenger car. So we're going to mark those with signs and let people know how to get into them.
One of the biggest improvements will be for public safety.
Very popular slot canyons, but are also very dangerous due to the weather. I mean, you're witnessing the wind that just come up all of a sudden here. We get the flash flooding that comes in here.
There's barely any cell service, and help can be a long ways away.
When we've had incidences in the past out there, we've had to station deputies in different locations and relay till we could finally hit a radio tower.
The Emery County Sheriff says they're installing a radio tower on the new land and will be able to offer something new to keep park visitors safe.
Scan a QR code, they'll get service on their phone to download the latest flash flood news. So they'll know if there's a storm coming and all of that, and they'll also see the risk if they go into a canyon.
These new services will start rolling out in the next few months.
Today is all about partnership, people working together.
Now, other federal land conveyances are in the works here in Emery County and across the state. At Goblin Valley State Park, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Juneteenth celebrations run through this weekend. It's a state holiday for the first time this year.
Sure is. And while Juneteenth marks the end of slavery in the U.S., it's also a chance to celebrate Black culture and provide a teaching moment. Fox 13 News reporter Brian Champagne takes us to today's celebration at Utah State University.
It's our education day, so we educate people on Black history and why Juneteenth is important.
Tristan, how about you?
Part of today's Education Day was a panel of Utah State alumni, art and artifacts at the Museum of Art, and a visit from the Utah Black History Museum's mobile exhibit.
We are actually on a Juneteenth bus tour, taking the bus to as many Juneteenth events as we can fit in.
The exhibits tell of Utah's Black cowboys and church members, dolls.
A lot of them came from a period of time when if you were a Black person and wanted a Black doll, you had to make it yourself.
Old books.
Little Black Sambo is a character that is both endearing and adorable, but also slightly offensive, and you don't see that character anymore.
And old advertising.
Super disturbed by the candy box talking about using Black children as gator bait. That is probably the most horrifying thing I have ever heard or seen.
There's also the history of the Ku Klux Klan in Utah, which includes a lynching in 1925.
They might be a little uncomfortable at first, and that's okay, but if you come here with an open mind and an open heart, and you are not going to feel personally victimized by history.
This is only the second year that Utah State has hosted a Juneteenth celebration and the first year that employees get the day off. But organizers say they hope things grow from here.
Events that are for our more diverse groups on campus are for everyone to take part in, because we're all members of this nation, we're all members of this community, and that history is it's Utah's history.
With this being a federal holiday, just like the 4th of July, everyone celebrates that. Now that this is within this first year, we want everyone to come out and celebrate this because African Americans and Black people have had a major part in the creation of this country.
Brian Champagne, Fox 13 News, Utah.
This is something that has really affected our community.
We'll take you to a small Utah town that is not served by the U.S. Postal Service. Now they're working to get mail closer to their homes. It's a story you'll only see here on Fox 13 News.
And wind, dust, and now fires and smoke. When are we going to get a break from this? We'll have your forecast after the break.
Well, many of us get mail every day by just walking down our driveway to our mailbox.
There you go.
Yeah, but for some communities, it's really not that easy.
That's right. They have to go to a post office. And for one small town in central Utah, even that luxury has been eliminated. Residents of Sigurd in Sevier County now have to drive about 25 to 30 minutes round trip just to pick up their mail. Something that they say needs to change. Fox 13 News anchor Amy Ney has the exclusive story.
We're desperate for some mail delivery.
Cindy Roberts and her husband, Mike.
About 10 miles away. And it's just kind of a pain.
Are longtime residents of the small central Utah town of Sigurd.
We're a town without mail service. It's been a hardship.
After a longtime postmaster retired, Sigurd's post office shut down, and they're now forced to drive to the neighboring larger town of Richfield to retrieve their letters and packages from the U.S. Postal Service.
It's really time consuming, and it's kind of a pain in the rear end to have to drive clear to Richfield every day to get your mail, and now that gas has gone sky high, why we don't always get our mail every day.
There's timely material that we are not receiving.
And they say for many older folks, some relying on the mail for medications, it's even harder.
Everybody needs post office.
A statement from a spokesman for the U.S. Postal Service to Fox 13 News reads in part, the contract post unit in Sigurd, Utah closed in March 2020 due to the contract holder retiring. When we solicited the community to operate a contract post unit, we didn't receive a response.
This is the initial letter that they sent us in March of 2020.
Vicki Bastian says residents were in an uproar 2 years ago, and she started a petition.
I went around to the town and got signatures from almost every single member of the town.
Opposing the shift to Richfield's post office, instead proposing mail delivery service like in nearby Venice, Utah.
We send it to Senator Mike Lee's office, Senator Mitt Romney's office. We've done everything we can to try and help and to try and work through this, but this is something that has really affected our community.
It's just all around not as good of a situation as it used to be.
Joe Kirkwood is a councilman in Sigurd and the local fire chief.
That's about probably a 25-minute round trip, which is a kind of an inconvenience where we had, the people in town have been used to having the service right here in town.
But the lack of a postmaster, the loss of the lease on the old location, and he says logistically, they're just trying to figure out another option.
I don't know. Seemed like they got us on ignore.
Residents driving the round trip to Richfield in the meantime to send and receive their mail. Amy Ney, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The U.S. Postal Service also responded to our story with this following statement saying, quote, businesses interested in becoming a USPS CPU supplier should send their contact information to alternate access at USPS.gov, and a local representative will respond.
Still ahead in sports, the Jazz digs are in. Do you like the new color scheme? I don't know. You tell me. Plus, did Tony Finau survive the U.S. Open cut? And BYU's latest track champion on what is next for her. Courtney Wayment certainly not stopping here. Back in a bit.
We continue to follow breaking news of multiple fires burning in northern Utah tonight. This is a live look at the Lakeshore and Cypress fires. They're combined now. They're both burning along I-80 near the Salt Lake and Tooele County border. The Cypress fire is the newest fire that started. It started just before 9 tonight, just before we went on the air here, and it has already burned about 100 acres. We could hear Jenna Bree earlier when she was reporting the wind was just blowing her microphone. You could see that her hair was blowing. The fires have caused intermittent closures of I-80 and SR 201 all afternoon and evening this evening. And of course, we'll keep you posted on these fires as we learn more. The Lakeshore fire, by the way, has burned about about 400 acres. So between the 100 and 400 of the Cypress and Lakeshore fires, we got about 500 acres of land that is scorched tonight. And the wind is not letting up, is it, Dina?
No, it definitely is not letting up at all. We actually have a lot of wind gusts still going on for sure.
Okay, well, we'll get an update from you in just a moment, okay? The late Robert Archie Archuleta and his widow Lois are being commemorated in the naming of a Salt Lake City bridge today.
The previously unnamed bridge connecting 200 South to North Temple along the Jordan River will be given a sign in both English and Spanish and named Archie and Lois Archuleta Bridge. The couple was influential in their advocacy for Latino Chicano residents, also the LGBTQ community, women, and many more. Archie passed away back in 2019. The renaming proposal should be officially adopted by the Salt Lake City Council sometime this year.
Women from all over gathered for a welding camp this morning. The Davis Technical College gave girls the opportunity to learn welding skills. Instructors say there is a major shortage of welders in general, but even more among women. And camps like this one could help inspire girls to get into the industry. For more information on the welding program at Davis Technical College, go to fox13now.com.
Well, good evening. I'm meteorologist Dina Friedman with your forecast. It's been windy, dusty, and now it's a little bit smoky out there too, and still very warm. 92 degrees, feels a little cooler than that. Our wind gusts have settled down a little bit. The wind's starting to go down as we go through the evening here, but it'll pick back up again tomorrow afternoon. Now, earlier tonight, we could actually see some thunderstorms over the Wasatch, and we got some reports of hail and some lightning over American Fort Canyon. So very interesting looking at this big cumulonimbus cloud here. If you've got pictures to share, of course, you can go to our Facebook page, Utah's Weather Authority. Our wind gusts are starting to diminish just a little bit now in the 20s in northern Utah versus 40s and 50s earlier. So big improvement. Still gusty in southern to southwestern Utah between 30 and 40 miles per hour. And the winds today were really ripping. We had a wind gust of 58 miles per hour in Salt Lake City. Wow. Lofty Lake Peak, 54 miles per hour in the Uintas. And of course, higher elevations in the Uintas up at 12,000 feet. We actually had a wind gust of 80 miles per hour. Impressive stuff as the system moves in. High wind warnings and fire weather watches here for the counties that we see in pink, and fire weather watches again. Fire weather warnings in pink, and then our fire weather watch, of course, in southeastern Utah and eastern Utah. That's for tomorrow. We just have hazardous weather, very dry, very windy, very dusty. Earlier tonight, we had that convection firing up over the Wasatch. Hard to see because our radar is actually down for maintenance at the Salt Lake Airport for the next few days. So it's going to be harder to see some of those thunderstorms fire up on the radar. So we'll be looking, keep your eyes to the sky for big towering cumulonimbus clouds. 92 degrees in Salt Lake, 70 in Alta. Still holding on to the heat here tonight. 90 in Moab and 93 in St. George. Warm night and windy as well. So still breezy going through the night, but not as windy as earlier. But tomorrow afternoon, we do it again. So by Saturday afternoon, you're looking at wind gusts here between 40 and 50 miles per hour. It's just going to be problematic again. And Sunday, as the cold front goes through in the afternoon. So we have 2 more days of wind and very high fire danger. As cold front will move through on Sunday, and on Saturday and Sunday afternoon, we still have chances for those isolated thunderstorms and microbursts as well. So windy and dangerous conditions the next couple of days here. 72 degrees tonight with wind and dust, and 73 in St. George. So not very cool tonight, a little bit on the warm side. Tomorrow, not as hot, still windy, still dusty, and still some scattered showers in eastern Utah tomorrow. Temperature in southern Utah around 95 degrees, 85 on Sunday, and around 100 through the middle part of the week. And for the Wasatch Front, windy, dusty, cools down a little bit. Still some isolated showers on Sunday, but much cooler weather finally settles in on Monday.
I can't wait to see the Jazz fans straw poll on this one. The Jazz making their rumored rebrand official today by ditching their 6-year run of navy green and gold for a new black and yellow scheme, along with the purple mountain look synonymous with the NBA Finals era. And they asked Jordan Clarkson to be the face of it.
Check this out.
A little nostalgia mixed in with a lot of news. Some of these photos were leaked months ago, so it wasn't a total surprise, but perhaps a good time to do it with a new head coach on the way and new ownership in place not long back. Jazz president Jim Olson in a press release said that purple, a color associated with the franchise since its beginning back in 1974 in New Orleans, is here to stay. The Jazz Bear making a surprise trip into Fox 13 today, dropping off cookies and spreading some cheer, donning the new purple, of course. But the gall of this furball to actually crash our 4 o'clock show with hugs, kisses, hand pounds, and a confetti gun just crossed the line, in my opinion. Between Garth Brooks and the Bear, it was the best day of Kelly's life. Bob's had better, but I think it was good for him,
I thought I was winning like the Mega Millions for a minute, okay?
Garth Brooks and the Mega Millions all in one day.
After a subpar opening round at the U.S. Open, the only local in the field needed a better round two to have any shot of advancing into the weekend. And Tony Finau was better on Friday, but turns out needed to be much better. Back to Brookline in Massachusetts after bogeys on the final 2 holes on the front 9. The back 9 starts out sour as well. The tee shot at 10 into the forest. Tony had a chance to save bogey, but the gimme putt misses for his first double bogey in nearly a month. He did finally birdie at 14 and 17. Great putt here to set up that bird at 17, but he still needed an eagle at 18 to survive the cut line. Unfortunately, the drive heading out of bounds and into the crowd. At 5 over, Finau is done. Phil Mickelson even worse at plus 11. This is MJ Duffy, who had the lead for a while, goes off the bleachers to save bogey. Duffy 4 strokes back. How about Scotty Scheffler, though, even better at 2 off the lead. This chip with eagle all over it. Colin Morikawa and Joel Damon sit alone at the top at -5. Last Saturday, Courtney Wayment not only brought home a national title for BYU track and field in the steeplechase, she crushed the NCAA's all-time record with a time of 9 minutes and 16 seconds. The performance also the 5th best time ever by an American in the steeple, and many athletes would hang it up at this point, but the outgoing senior is just getting started. She'll remain in Provo, ready to begin her pro career and hopefully chase an Olympic spot in 2024.
And keep it going from there. You know, the Olympic year is coming up in 2 years, and just try to put my best foot forward. And you know, it's uncharted territory because I've never been a professional yet, but we start the journey soon. I definitely would love to have the opportunity to, you know, rep red, white, and blue on the Olympic stage.
Some baseball where former Ute slugger C.J. Cron went yard twice for the Rockies tonight against the Padres. His first home run since June 2nd, the second of which ended up deep in the Cron zone over at Coors Field, all part of a 5 RBI outing for Cron, 10-4 the final. The Bees were washed out tonight in Albuquerque while the Monarchs were desperate for a win. San Jose, too, though, found the net to begin the second half. It turned out to be the game's only goal, dropping Real to 0-10-2 in the new MLS Next Pro League. We're right back.
Thanks, everyone, for sharing your Friday night with us.
QuickCast is up next.